Hello everybody, welcome to Experience Share, your gaming book club. We played it, we're here to talk about it and share it, and if y'all said anything about it, we're gonna talk about your stuff too. If you want to join the conversation with us, you can join us in the Discord at bit.ly/EXP Disco. So today's game is Hamtaro, but we're super late to it because we got sick. Everybody got sick. And just as soon as I got done getting sick, I ended up catching what they had. So I was sick again. So we would have had this out earlier by like a week and a half. And even then, that still would have been late because everyone was putting off playing it because we had other stuff we were doing. So we actually played Hamtaro. Rook, tell us a bit about the story.
So basically, the story is you play as Hamtaro, the main character of Hamtaro, and your little hamster, of course. And you go to the clubhouse, and the big boss hamster that runs the clubhouse, his name is Boss, and he's like, hey, I need you to go find all the hamsters and bring them back to the clubhouse because I have a surprise for them. And basically, you're just going around collecting all the hamsters and learning their like little secret hamster language called Ham Chat. And you use Ham Chat to learn to be able to get other hamsters to follow you back to the clubhouse.
Yeah,
Boss?
that's kind of that's kind of the whole game, really. It's little hamsters, big adventures, Hamtaro. When we work together, it's much better.
My best friend.
My best friend.
Anyway,
We love sunflower seeds. Crump, crump, crump.
So the story, the game is interesting because it exists in this weird spot of where it's like, it's a Hamtaro game, and hamster games are huge in Japan. They love hamster pet sims, but this is not a hamster pet sim. This is a point-and-click adventure game, but it sits in an interesting place because it assumes that you know nothing about Hamtaro. It sets itself up as being separate from the anime, and the characters, when they interact with each other, they act like they don't really know each other. So it's an interesting situation. But yeah, the game is basically a point-and-click adventure game where you go and you interact with hamsters using a series of commands, and then the commands are called Ham Chat, which is their language. Do that in the anime too. They do have their little hamsterisms, I guess, and they use those to talk with each other. But you learn the hamsterisms, and you use those to interact with the world around you by pressing A and then choosing the one from the list that you think will cause a reaction that is favorable to what you want to happen. So rather than doing pixel hunts, it's on the Game Boy Color. It's a very tiny screen, so everything is very large and clear and easy to find. And you just walk up to it, and really, it's just a guessing game. You're really just walking up to things, pressing A, choosing something from the list, and then if you don't have anything that interacts with it, you go run around and do other things until you find it, and it's kind of directionless.
It's tedious.
I love it. I love it.
It's cute. I'd like to say that it's unfettered hamster autism, really.
It's super cute. It's very adorable. Like, my favorite ham chat that I have is the one that you start with from the very beginning. You don't have to look very hard for it because it's already available for you, and it's go-p. And Hamtaro just turns around, whips out his little hamster dick, and pisses all over the ground. And it's adorable.
I guess.
Face, like, huh?
I guess
I never got that
hamster
far.
Pissing is adorable. I don't know.
You never got that far? It's literally the very second that you turn on the
She
game.
didn't play any of it.
You didn't?
No, I played it.
Well, you had it available from the beginning. You could have pissed on somebody from the beginning.
Yeah.
Would that have made the game more enjoyable for you, Kanny, if you could run around whipping out your hamster dick pissing on people?
No, I'd rather piss on the game. I would have pulled it out of the slot and then pissed on it.
Okay, so how far did everybody get?
I beat it.
This is my second time playing it, so I almost beat it the first time, and then this second time I played it for about 2 hours.
I beat it the first time I ever played it, and I beat it fully ever since. Every time I would replay it.
It's a really short game. It's like a 3-hour game. You could probably play it in an afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, if you knew everything, you could do it easily.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that hard if you know where you're going. But, like, first time, I think it's like 4 hours max. Because that's, like, about as much time as I spent on it.
And she didn't even beat it.
I didn't beat on it.
She didn't
I
even beat it.
She didn't beat on it.
I didn't beat on it.
I had 3 hamsters left, I believe.
You had 2.
2.
And they were the hardest ones to get. And I was like, you know what? Just just go. Just stop. No, you had 4. You had 4 left, and they were the hardest ones to get because it's like a whole process, and sometimes it's like doesn't work properly for some reason. I don't know.
How long did you play, Connie?
20 minutes.
All right, so tell us your
I'll
opinion on it,
remember
Connie.
A very bare bones game, if you could call it that.
Okay. Did you factor in that it's made on the Game Boy Color?
Yeah, but
I think all Game Boy Color games have that kind of issue of.
I'm not a big fan of most Game Boy Color games.
They didn't really know what they were doing yet.
Yeah, and
They do one thing. There's a reason why the Jumpman is on the Game Boy Color is because it's really simple to do.
you say joke, man.
It's a Jumpman.
Jumpman.
Oh,
Jesus.
Jumpman.
I can't hear it through my headphones, so I thought he said joke, man.
Game Boy Color had a lot of limitations. It couldn't host a proper Mario game, so it was called Super Mario Land, and it was scaled back pretty heavily. It's very unrecognizable as a Mario game, and it's commonly one of the most hated Mario games. But as someone who's played it, it's a perfectly fine experience for Mario on the Game Boy Color.
I remember playing Super Mario Land 2, I think, and it was pretty, like, design-wise, despite, like, the lack of color palette, it was pretty interesting for its time, but obviously nowadays it won't feel like a,
It's kind of ironic. Game Boy Color, lack of of color palette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the color palette is green and brown.
Well, it was just a color version of Game Boy Original games, so it was still Game Boy Original game in terms of like quality, but it had more room for color.
Yeah, it was just a little bit more color.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like all blocks anyways. It's like all blocks and then there's Mario and that's about it.
And it came out pretty late in the system's life cycle, so very quickly afterwards it was replaced with Game Boy Advance.
However, Hamtaro, our little ham chatter, ham chatter. I'm going on
Chatterbaiter.
Ham chatterbaiter.
Chatterbait.
It's full of color.
It's very colorful. It's like, I thought it was a Game Boy Advance game at first because I remember it being very colorful, and I was like, it's a Game Boy Advance game, right? Because I remember it had the signatures of a Game Boy Advance game, and that's very chunky sprites, very large sprites, very colorful, and the world, everything was big and text was large and stuff like that because it was such a small screen. So I thought it was a Game Boy Advance game when I first played it, when I was remembering it. But no, it's Game Boy Color, but it's very reminiscent of like a Game Boy Advance game. It's just the gameplay is very kid-friendly, as it should be, because we're not the core demographic for that. We're not the people who are playing this.
I think it's fine for a Game Boy Color game. However, I think my only 2 gripes are the trees in the park area look like giant linking logs of shit, and also the music is very grating.
Yeah, I didn't listen to the music for very long.
It would be such a horrible experience if it wasn't such a schizophrenia like echo chamber of like just the same beat over. It's like boop 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 boop.
It's
boop 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 boop.
Yeah, it's
boop 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 boop.
It's too
over
short,
and
and it's also too catchy, which kind of makes it have this like cacophonous feel as you play it more.
It's the game. They put me in a rubber room. The hamsters made me crazy. It's exactly what it is because it's a cute game, but going through like every area over and over again to look through things and talk to hamsters and over again, and hearing the music does not help it because it makes it feel even more monotonous.
But all the characters are like made faithfully to like the anime and stuff like that, and they introduce you to them in a natural way with the gameplay. They don't sit there and front load it all like this is Bijou, this is Penny, this is They show you them in a sequential order and introduce you to them, and it makes you want to watch the anime. It's a game made for people who haven't seen the anime. You could also also know and watch the anime and play the game and still get enjoyment out of it. But I really think it's intended for people who haven't watched the anime.
I mean, there's like, yeah, it does go from this, but you can meet some of the hamsters like out of order. Like the first one is Biju, but like I found before I even got Biju, I found the little egghead one before the one you knocked down from the
Maxwell.
Maxwell, yeah.
And the writing's good for the characters too, because like I was reading Biju's lines, and in my head I had the American
French.
version of her voice, the very French one.
Yeah.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oh, Hamtaro.
Hamtaro.
Yeah, so I was reading it in her French accent because in the English version, in the English dub, she has a French accent, and I was reading it in her French accent, so I think the text was pretty good.
That's a very
Unsure
weird thing.
why she has a French accent, even though
It's like a ghost story-esque bullshit thing to pull.
her owner does not have a French accent in
And
the American dub. or the
Hamsters
English
don't
dub.
come from France.
It's like that family of like two people who like they raise their kid to be British despite not speaking like or native British, and so their kid just grew up with a British accent.
That's a fucked up social experiment.
Yeah,
if
no,
I've
it is
ever
fucked
seen.
up. Because like none
Oh
of the
my
parents
God.
were like British, but then their kid like grew up with a British accent despite never living in Britain. So it was just fucking stupid.
Or how kids who are watching Bluey are talking with an Australian accent.
That's very funny, actually.
That's actually hilarious. Yeah, now, as someone who has never watched the anime and has never had any stake in anything Hamtaro or like heard about it before this game blows.
I grew up with Hamtaro. I grew up around Hamtaro, but I never watched it. I think I ended up watching like one episode where they go to the school, and that was like about it. Which is like probably some of like the regular episodes where they go to the school and they go hee hee hee. What are they doing? This is weird. Anyways, I'm gonna go piss on a tree and eat a sunflower seed.
I grew up watching Hamtaro. I have a bunch of Hamtaro toys.
Yeah, you want to say that you have an
Let's give the
unopened-
merch list.
Yeah.
I have a Hamtaro plushie. I have a little Hamtaro plush. I gave Sarah a little Bijou plushie.
Which is all puked on.
It's not puked on.
It looks puked on.
The problem is that she's very top heavy, so she rolls off of things and hits the ground and gets dirty because she has a fat head and she keeps rolling forward off of things.
I still have my Hamtaro playset. Like it's a little like dollhouse, and there came with little rubber Hamtaro figures, and I have all the hamsters on the box and some extra ones that weren't on the box that come with their own little play sets and stuff that connect to the play set. It was this whole thing, and I have had that for years. I had that since I was in elementary school, and it's in the freaking closet in the house, in the bedroom. And I also had a set of like Hamtaro figure keychains that for some reason I lost one day, and I have a feeling either my mother or my younger brother or a babysitter that I had that was older than me stole them, and I just never found them.
Yeah, they were probably stolen. The very highly desirable Hamtaro merch.
I don't know. It's not the first time my mom's taken something from me and sold it for money and then never gave me the money.
Yeah, I know. I know that. You told us about the video game thing, multiple video game consoles.
Yes.
All right. So here's the question now.
Oh, I also have fan-made merch from Hamtaro, so
Love it or hate it.
love it. I love it.
I like
There are
him.
some
I like
things-
Hamtaro.
There are some things that need to be tweaked, but otherwise, perfect game. 10 out of 10, no notes.
I think the problem is that the gameplay is very reading based and
It's like a
not
fucking,
very gameplay based, so I get tired of it.
a web
There's a lot
browser
of
game.
weird things in it as well, like the weird clothes shop. Like, go ahead and dress your little Hamtaro bussy up. Yeah, go.
Yeah, no one's gonna see
Let's
that.
go,
shit.
Diva. Let's go learn hand chat.
There, I think that was part of like, didn't the Game Boy Color have like a printer?
Yes,
Attachment.
it did.
Telling me that it was made for the Game Boy printer.
I
It's
think
possible.
so.
You can print. You can. If it was Game Boy printer compatible, then yes, it was possible that they used the Game Boy Color printer to print off your yassified Hamtaro.
It did. Yeah, there's like a little shop where if you buy, you can buy like little clothing items, and it's basically useless. It's just for,
It's so you
to
can.
pad out the game and be like, oh my gosh, look, your little Hamtaro. He's just like a feudal samurai. And it's like, I
Yeah,
guess.
I grinded hard for these sunflower seeds, and look what I got.
Hamtaro is
I
not
got
on
the
the-
Hamtaro Gucci wristwatch, the Hamtaro Gucci polo shirt, and the Gucci belt, and then my Hamtaro's got the Ham Force ones on.
Hamtaro does not have printer support for the Game Boy.
So, okay, so it was just added in so that it's an extra
Yeah,
thing to do, a reason to collect sunflower seeds.
Yeah,
pretty
pretty
much.
much.
Because there are only a couple puzzles that cause
But
you to grab
it's-
the stuff for sunflower
It's
seeds.
entirely walk one place, make an interaction, walk another place, make an interaction. It's like Dead Space 1, but you don't get to shoot anything on the way.
It's a point and click to like the barest bones.
No platforming or
that's-
anything.
I think that's maybe why I liked it, because
Here's-
it was basically just a point and click.
Here's my issue with it though, is that like a lot of the go here, do that is a lot easier in like the very beginning of it to like the middle of it, and then all of a sudden it ramps like to a hard stop when it comes to like the final bit of it. It's ridiculously like to get a couple like you can get a couple hamsters by just doing one or two things. Usually
Yeah.
one thing. And then the like final bit to get like what's her little face, the one with the bag hat on?
Penelope?
Penelope. Yeah, you have to do like several different things to get her, and it's kind of like I didn't expect that.
Well, the game has to ramp up in difficulty somehow, but it's not really difficulty if all it is dialogue boxes.
I guess there's just a lot of moving parts because like where do you like because there's a lot of hamsters who do nothing. They just go, aha, I took a shit in that hole over there, hee hee. To like, you need this. You need the fucking LOL emoji chat box to do this, and you're like, oh, thank you. So it's a lot. It really is just like tedium is what it is. Is it ramps up the tedium at the very end.
It's for kids, and I feel like only kids could really enjoy it nowadays.
Unless you had, I think regular kids could, but I think someone with ADHD or autism probably not, because I couldn't.
No, it's slow. It's slow. That 3-hour gameplay feels much longer than 3 hours,
You have to,
and
be
not
Rook
in the
to
good
enjoy
way.
it, is what I'm saying.
You have to be Rook to enjoy it.
You had to be
It's-
Rook to enjoy it.
It's very much, yeah, this is fun if you have no idea what Hamtaro is. But if you're a real Hamtaro fan, it's like, yeah, you're going to want to stick to it and play it. But I can understand if people, aren't fans of Hamtaro, have no idea what Hamtaro is, and they pick it up and they're like, the fuck is this?
I think the
So-
premise is unique, and I think because of that, I think you should try it because the premise is unique. I haven't seen a point and click adventure that uses commands instead of it, and I think that's a really good way to handle it because of it being on a Game Boy. A cursor wouldn't really work. So I think the using commands to cause interactions and effects and stuff like that is actually really super smart of them. It's a really good way to do a point and click adventure when you can't have a mouse cursor. So I think it's really intelligently designed. It's just reading though. It's just a lot of reading.
Well, that's what I mean by like you have to have the autism to get into it.
I think even if you're a Hamtaro fan, you won't find anything of interest in here because it doesn't give you anything new. It's just reintroducing the characters, and you already have familiarity with them because of the anime. And that's kind of something that annoyed me a little bit about anime games at this time, is that a lot of them worked on the assumption that you possibly haven't seen the anime or anything like that because you don't have cable. So they make the games so that you don't have to watch the anime. A lot of games did this at the time. Some games did it good, like Dragon Ball Z Budokai series, where they give you the story as you play. And then some games do it poorly, and I think Hamtaro is one of those ones that does it poorly. So you either don't play, you either haven't seen the Hamtaro anime and you're not going to be interested in this, or you're going to have seen the anime and not need to play this.
Well, I think it goes a little more deeper than making it seem like you haven't seen anything. I think it's a way of pulling attraction towards the show and stuff like that, because like it's cross marketing.
Mhm.
You get a kid who's playing the Hamtaro game, then you might get them to watch the anime or buy the toys. So you're introducing them into, something new, and then pulling them into it by introducing them into it.
My thought
Like
is that if you have the anime, though, you should make an experience that's entirely new and separate from the anime that isn't just reintroducing the characters, because you want the people who are watching the anime to spend money on the game, because that's a big profit margin, because you're going from watching the anime to dropping $40 on the game. If the game has nothing new to offer you, then that anime person has no reason to buy the game.
That really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm pretty sure kids ate it up, regardless if they were into it or not.
I knew I did.
They probably bought it and then played it for like 5 minutes, and they're like, "This isn't Pokemon."
I slurped that shit up with a straw. I was
But,
like,
but listen, all right, we have Eastern Hamster Simulator. When are we gonna get a Western Hamster Simulator? When like we have the choice to like pick up our hamster and put it in the microwave and watch it explode?
Oh my God.
Hamsters are naturally drawn to death, and they'll just die anyway. You don't need to put them in a microwave. They just naturally explode.
Yes.
Oh.
You're right.
Who all has had pet hamsters here?
I have.
I
I
have.
woke up one day and it was just dead. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, we had the two gerbils, Yama and Sabaku, and those are essentially hamsters.
No, they're not.
They're kind of hamsters.
No, because
No.
they didn't fucking randomly explode in the middle of the night and die.
Yeah. Well, one did.
One did.
One did because it got sick and it was on.
No,
it
he
just
had
happened.
seizures because he's old.
Yeah, well, no, he had seizures because he's old, but he got sick because he was old.
And then I had hamsters as a kid. We had one hamster, and its name was Candy Cane. And my brother we got it from the store, put it in the box that you bring it home with you. We put it on the counter, and it starts shaking violently, thrusting and rolling about like it was picking a fight with something in there, and like it was demonic. And I was like, "You sure you want to go with Candy Cane and not Satan?" And and it's just shaking and like going violently. And then we open it, and it immediately bites him. And then we put it into the cage, let it chill out for a bit. My mom's like, it's fine. It's just scared. Just give it some time. Long story short, it died because my brother put it in a toy RC truck and was driving it around, and it stuck its head out the back of the toy truck and got its head pinched between the back of the truck and the couch.
oh.
So it was like this, sitting outside the truck with its head over the back door of the truck, and then it goes, "Neum," and its head gets pinched between the back of the car and the couch. Like,
Final Destination hamster moment.
yes, it was a Final
God.
Destination death with
I
hamster.
don't think kids should have hamsters. Ever.
No.
Okay,
No.
here's the issue.
Anyone who's ever owned a hamster, I have never heard anything good about it and how it died.
No, they all die from crazy shit. Like they bite cords, boom. Or kids just let them out, and like kids want a pet that they can treat like a dog, something that they can rough up a bit, play with it, and yeah. And kids aren't like that. Kids don't understand gentle. Like I had a cockatiel, the little ones, and I woke up one day to find its body in the garbage can. After asking my brother what happened, it turned out that he hugged it too hard because he wanted to hug it. Like, kids want an animal they can rough up, an animal that they can love on aggressively.
Every time I say
Okay.
rough up on my brain.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Kids know gentle. You gotta teach them gentle. But here's the thing: is fucking like when it comes to a kid's like first like pet, is because like parents choose the small pets because they think they're not like they're low
Expendable.
maintenance as low
They
maintenance.
think
comes.
small means easy.
Yeah, and because a dog is a big responsibility, because it's a huge thing to take care of. Hamsters are just as hard, if not more. So I think they would be way harder than actual like dogs would be because they require a lot of space. Like something
And a
that
dog can
small,
be trained. A dog can be taught to not do things.
like people think like hamsters are something like, oh, you can hold and like touch and stuff like that. A lot of hamsters,
really.
you can't do jack shit.
Most of
with
them won't
because
let
a
you
lot
pick
of-
them up.
because they're fucking
Scared.
they're rodents. They're like bearing rodents. They're not meant to be touched. They don't want to be touched.
Rats are a
Like, you
great
could-
pet, though. They're like miniature dogs.
Yeah, because they're sociable. Hamsters aren't sociable. Hamsters and fucking like gerbils are somewhat sociable. Like you can like touch them and they get curious and stuff like that. Like they're like rats, but like they aren't super like touchy and stuff like that.
They're hard
like-
to keep, though, because they're very territorial. You can't really just toss another gerbil in the cage.
Yeah, you have to like.
Acclimate them. And there's a chance that they'll never acclimate.
But I think that comes up with like with Hamtaro and this stuff. Like the hamster craze is still a thing with like parents giving their kid a new like pet, like their very first pet is like the hamster craze. I mean, I had a hamster. I never wanted a hamster. I didn't really care for a hamster, but my mom was insistent on being like, okay, let's get a hamster for your first pet. I was like, I don't really want that fucking thing, but we had one. Lo and behold, I wake up one day, it's just dead. And it was one of the bigger ones. It's not
They're
like the-
miserable creatures filled with hate, and they're waiting for that hate to escape and die.
like no, I think that one was just cursed. Candy cane was just cursed. You gave it the worst fucking name ever. You gave it a negative 500% chance to live by naming it Candy cane alone. But hamsters are hamsters are the worst pet. I don't know why like every time we go to PetSmart or whatever the fuck it's called, and every time I see a kid looking at the like hamsters, I'm like, oh my god, another angel goes straight to hell.
Mabel
Because it's
has very
fucking-
strong opinions about hamsters, I guess.
I do, because they're just they're the worst thing ever. Like it was cemented even more when we came here, and I saw that your brother had got Winnie a hamster. I was like, Christ, why a fucking hamster of all things? And it just goes to show you that fucking anyone who has a hamster, it might also like and think they're the best thing ever might just be an insufferable piece of shit, because hamsters are the worst thing to take care of because they're just not fun. They just do nothing other than bury themselves and eat like the fat
They
little fuck
either
they are.
sleep all day or they run on the wheel all day, and then they get a little too yoked, and then you're a little too scared to touch them because they look like they could beat you up.
There has not been a one video I have seen of a hamster where it has been like, ah, yes, dear mother, I love you. I've always seen it slapping the owner, hissing at them, fucking hissing. You
I didn't know
shitting
they
at
could
me?
hiss.
They hiss or scream. They go,
It's like,
or, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with that thing? Why do you want it? Oh, it's so cute. No, it's a fucking desert worm, is what it is. You have a furry desert worm in your fucking house, and that's what it is. I don't understand the hamster hype.
Man, we got so off topic.
Remember when this podcast was about Hamtaro?
No, it leads into that. I think Hamtaro caused the like. This is another one of my theories that I told one of my theories. My theories was that dentists use the little metal scrapey thing to cause little microabrasions in your teeth to give you cavities. So you have to come back. And I know what people are gonna think. Well, that's fucking crazy. Calm down.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
nutty.
conspiracy theorist. You got any thoughts on fluoride in the water?
No, I'm saying that they do that to get your money. Is what I'm saying. They're caught like you can brush all you want. You'll still get eventually cavities. It's whatever. But I think they pick at your tooth like that to speed up the process. So you come back and go, oh damn, I need to fill or whatever. So they have their money.
What does that have to do with hamsters?
I'm just saying that I've said conspiracy theories before, but I think Hamtaro. My conspiracy theory right now is that Hamtaro caused the hamster craze.
Nah, it's always just been a traditional like first pet.
I don't fucking believe
my
that.
first pet was a fish. I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
I don't fucking believe that because
Fish
that's not
are
fucking-
bad first pets too. People always put them into bowls, and then that's way too small, and they're just miserable. They assume
No,
Yeah,
I think
my,
fish can be a good first pet, but also it's not a pet for a kid. It's just not a
no
pet. It's just
kids.
not a pet for
Kids
a
want pets they can touch.
like you could have a good time. Like if your kid is that like right mentality for it, you could have a good first fish pet. You could have so much fun with the tank, the fish itself, learning about what the fish does. It's entirely autistic because I knew a friend in elementary school who loved fish.
If you come into having fish as a pet with the mindset of I'm just going to put it in a bowl full of water, I think you need to quit and stop and give up on your fish journey, because there's a lot from the ground up. It is a very customizable and very fun thing to do. Like my shrimp didn't live very long, because shrimp don't live very long, but I had good fun, like landscaping the tank, putting the plants in it, choosing the rocks and stuff like that, and decorating the tank, and and then picking out the shrimp for it, and it's fun. It's something that can be fun, but once they're in there, your kids got to understand that once they're in there, they got to stay in there, and then it's about cleaning, and it's not fun. It's boring. They're just pretty to look at.
I think I don't know. I think it's fun. I like it. I like little pea puffers. Those are like my favorite fish. But anyways, I think the hamster craze was caused by Hamtaro because
It's possible, because Finding Nemo did cause a lot of people to buy clownfish.
it's cute. You think, oh, Hamtaro, I love Hamtaro. I'm gonna get a hamster, and I like my kid's gonna get a hamster and name it Hamtaro, and we're gonna have Ham Adventures. But little do they fucking know, you're not gonna have Ham Adventures.
Yeah, if you don't have Ham Adventures, you got a 50-50 chance of either your hamster like spontaneously combusting or running away and then going on their own little ham adventures.
Ham Adventures to hell, because those things are fucking
Yeah,
hell
they'll hide until you smell something really bad one day, and then you check the vent and it turns out your hamster got in there. Or you'll check by the outlet behind the TV stand, and there it'll be coiled up like a little charcoal briquette because it got a little hungry and ate the cord.
They live.
They have no sense of self-preservation.
Leave the things in the sand. Those things are meant for the sand. We're not meant to have those. Keep them away. I also think like the amount of like inbreeding or whatever goes on over at pet stops or whatever the fuck they're called,
PetSmart and Petco and stuff like that,
has made them so inept to life itself that it's like how our cells are programmed to commit suicide on that's their whole body is programmed to commit suicide.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the game
itself,
is that what we were talking about?
It's so cute.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow, good job.
I think it's a little unrealistic because Hamtaro doesn't bite into an electrical cord in the first 5 minutes. So
that would have been preferable for me, honestly.
Actually, no, it is really realistic because one of the little hamsters that first greets you is sick, and then you give him a cold medicine to make him feel better, and then eventually, when you go back off the screen and come back on, he's still sick again.
All right, Rook, what were you gonna say?
You gave him bad cold medicine though.
Oh.
I was just gonna say I like it. I like the game. It's cute and fun.
All right.
The one of the few things that I have an issue with is sometimes it's hard to figure out how to get a certain hamster. Like the ones that Blythe didn't get, they were the hardest ones in the game, if you ask me, because you have to learn a certain ham chat word in order to get like Sandy and her brother. And first you have to find Sandy.
Bo's on Rook's desk and looked directly into the camera.
He's cleaning his ass on my desk. Thank you. Disgusting man. You have to get Sandy first specifically, and then you have to do all this stuff to get Sandy, and then you have to have her stand still, and then run around and chase Stan over to her in order to get both of them. So it takes forever because you have to figure out which ham chat you need in order to get it, and then you have to do all this whole song and dance just to get both of them. And then the Howdy and Dexter one is also annoying. But what's interesting about that is if depending on which one you go to first, depends on which one you have to save. Like if you go to Howdy first, you have to go and save him from the what is it? Registered drawer closing on him. You have to get like a barcode from the hamster store dude and scan it. And you have to have Dexter help you to scan it. And if you go to Dexter first, you have to save him from being frozen solid because he's trying to make a little statue out of pashmina out of ice and he gets frozen and you have to have Howdy help you get him unfrozen, and it's very cute and it's very wholesome and it
Okay, so there is a part in the story where a hamster does inadvertently kill itself.
a little, yeah. You save him, he doesn't die, but
Without your intervention, he would turn into an ice cube.
yeah, pretty much.
The
If
grossest
Hamtaro weren't
ice
there,
cube.
Hamtaro is literally the glue holding this like French group together. If he weren't there, none of them would be friends. Yeah.
All right.
And then there's the bowling mini game. I hate the bowling minigame. I've always hated the bowling minigame, even when I was a kid. It's so annoying and it's so hard to pinpoint when you have to hit the bowling ball into the balloons. I hate it. It's the worst minigame in the whole series, and they do it in Ham Ham Heartbreak, and I hate it there too.
All right.
Ugh, I hate it.
So, would you recommend it, Connie?
Absolutely not.
Would you recommend it, Rook?
Yeah, I would. If you like cute little point and click games that make you think, yeah, I would recommend it.
Mabel, would you recommend it?
Yeah, it's a cute little game. Yeah, I'd recommend it.
I recommend you play it for like 30 minutes. Just so that you can see the command system and go, oh, that's neat, and then move on to the whatever you got next. But like, if you don't like the first 30 minutes of gameplay, don't bother playing any further because the whole game's like that. So if you were listening this whole time, I appreciate you listening this whole time. But the talk about Hamtaro actually ended at like 15 minutes, and then the rest of it was just about hamster hate. I like to have these go on for like an hour, so we got 15 more minutes here. Do y'all have any idea what to talk about for the next 15 minutes?
The state of our economy is in shambles. The government has been...
Okay, Jaden Smith. Anyways, what are we playing next?
Yes, I would like to know that. So
I get to pick next, and I was thinking Ratchet and Clank.
I'm going to kill myself.
Okay.
I'll play it. I won't like it, but I'll play it.
Fuck me with a rusty spoon.
You might like it.
The rusty spoon? No.
I was hoping we were actually going to do like 1,000-Year Door or something like that. You got me so excited.
Yeah, when you're talking about 1,000-Year Door.
Right. I do remember saying, asking if y'all had played Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga games.
I've not played any Mario game
or Paper Mario
Kart.
Do we got anything else?
Beep little boppy de boop da beep.
Stream Hosier. Stream Hosier.
Who's that?
Don't buy hamsters. Fuck hamsters. Burn all your pet smarts down.
They actually throw away animals. Some pet smarts.
I believe it.
Probably the beta fish. All right. Well, if we got nothing left to say, I think we should just wrap it up. This will be our shortest episode ever.
I'm hamming it.
I'm hamming it.
Oh yeah.
She disconnect.
Connie died.
She tried to stop her camera me things.
Oh, okay. I'm hamming it. I'm hamming it. I guess we should end this by asking Bijou, would or wouldn't?
Wouldn't. That's a hamster. What are you fucking talking about?
And maybe even a child. What are you talking about?
Let's read some of our previous
She's
comments.
not real. She's French. The French don't exist.
She's still a hamster.
Nah,
No.
I agree. I agree.
answering-
No, hamster.
What's the fucking episode?
Huh?
How long has the episode been going on for?
Exactly 1 hour. We're done now. All right. Thank you for watching,
Whatever
everybody.
happened to
Bye
reading
bye.
the comment?
Well, okay.
There are no comments.
Fuck that bad. I fucking blow.
No, I think people just aren't playing the games with us. I think they're just choosing to listen instead because they think of it like a review. Immediately, you just assume we suck. We only just started. This is like our, 7th episode?
You don't know that.
You're right. That's why I was like our 7th episode.
Exactly.
All right. Good night. Mwah, mwah. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye, chat.
Kill me.
Good night.
Thanks to all the patrons and YouTube members over on my main channel. Recently, I made all of my live streams ad-free over on my main channel at youtube.com/@SerasThings as a thank you. You can become a patron for just $1 a month on patreon.com/SerasThings. So thanks again to Firework Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Aurora the Puppy Moth, Sly, Nat, Selena, Marius, Yeenie, Worm Syrup, Rask, Ver, Beef, Bait, Sly again, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Fasoku, Linky again, Splackjack, and Malding Brick. Thanks for watching. I have to go hamster-proof my microwave.